G'day.
Hello.
Jeez, we're back again. Holy cow.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have actually sort of taken a little break.
Just a little break.
We're not really social media people anyway. We just wanted to share this story for, because we found when we started with fertility treatment that there wasn't a lot on particularly male factor infertility. So that was why.
That was the main reason why.
Yeah.
I sort of went looking, and there's only really a couple of resources, and I sort of wasn't really happy with them. So,
yeah.
Why not? Why not put it out there? But we've
Just
been a little overwhelmed.
So obviously we announced our pregnancy online after having announced it to our family and friends.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. We got so many incredible messages.
It's been too much. I can just cry at the drop of a hat now.
It's
become quite an art form.
Yeah, it's true. And
I even did it at the hospital the other day.
Yeah, he cries all the time. It's very cute. But so many people taking the time to send a nice message. It's pretty amazing. And at the same time, we also got invited.
I guess along with that, yeah.
Well, we got invited to do some media things that people wanted to tell our story online. So we were like, anything that creates awareness, right?
It's all been a lot.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot, especially while being pregnant and everything like that. And I mean, we even got some not so nice messages. People sending us.
Thank you for those DMs.
People sending. I mean, it's really interesting when it's a tricky subject, because when someone who's been through infertility gets pregnant, it is hard for other people in that community.
In that space.
And so, I mean, we were really surprised to get sort of nasty messages, but we do understand that it comes from a place of being hurt. And, that's why our hearts go out to the very, very few people who took the time to set up some fake accounts and send us some nasty stuff. It's interesting because we all have the same goal, right? We all have this goal of becoming pregnant. And I feel like we tried to be
a family.
Yeah, we tried to be really sensitive to how we announced our news. We took a long time to do it because we were nervous about doing it. And so we thought we wanted to make a video about sharing your story today, because I think we have thought a lot over the years about how we share our story, when we share our story, who we tell it to, and we change our minds about it all the time. And because we're always trying to do what's right for us, but also what's right for the people around us.
I guess we've never compared our story to anyone else's too, because our stories is our story, and our story is our own, and everyone else's is their own. And I think comparing it I guess initially we sort of thought that we compared our journey to others, and it only really brought us issue.
Yeah.
It didn't really help us at all. So we haven't really said our story's harder or easier or any of that. It's just our story, and we just hope someone makes some good out of it.
Yeah, and it is overwhelming when you first start. So just any information you can get is helpful. But so, I mean, when do you tell people that you're going through IVF or infertility? And for us, we actually didn't tell anybody at all for a year. It was just the two of us for the first year. You remember, we didn't tell family, friends. We didn't tell our parents because we thought it would be sort of safer for us to be quiet about it. So we did that. And then we got to the stage where we were like, we really need some help.
The reason behind that too was because, and I guess you guys would probably know that, is when you explain to one person, then the next person asks you the question, and then the next person. So you end up telling the story in this, and sometimes it's not the greatest story, but you're telling it 50 times over.
Yeah.
And it's not true that their intentions are bad. They don't understand. So it's really hard to relive that. So that was our decision to
tell anyone at the start.
Basically not tell anyone really what we were doing.
When we got more used to it, we were like, well, we want to we want people to understand what it's like to go through this, because so many people are going through fertility treatment. And we were like, okay, so then we told family and friends first obviously. And then it took us about 6 months after that before we started sharing online, which partly explains why, it took us a while to catch up on our story. Because in the end, we were like, we're sharing because we want people to have access to this information, but it wasn't really about us.
No.
So there was we never hid the fact that there was a bit of a delay in sharing our story. Because the other thing is, when do you share when you're pregnant? And for us, it was really important, especially because there were parts, after we started transferring embryos, there were parts of our journey that were incredibly hard and upsetting. And we looked at the footage that we filmed of that, and we decided...
because we couldn't.
Well, yeah, we decided it was too painful for us to actually share. And so we decided not to. And that's our choice too, and we wanted to wait until we were at least sort of 13 weeks pregnant before we didn't tell family and friends again. Yeah. And actually, at the end of our fertility treatment, we were in the middle of COVID. And even though we'd been sharing quite openly, we went quite quiet again because we were like, we need to just focus on the two of us right now. So I guess the point that we're trying to make is how you share and when you share is up to your baby making team, whoever that is, whether that's you as a couple, whether it's your surrogate, and everybody needs to be on board with that.
They just all have to be.
Yeah, like I see posts sometimes of people saying, oh, my husband told me not to share this with everybody, but here's what's happening. And I just think, wow, that's really inconsiderate of because you're a team, right? Whoever's on your baby making team, whether it's your partner or, a donor, all those people, they all have to have a say in how you share because it's incredibly personal. And painful sometimes. So you have to, and it can change. Like someone who's been open to sharing suddenly might say, you know what, I need some privacy for a while. And we went through periods of that where we were like, even though we shared our story obviously quite openly, and strange now that the media's picked it up as well, because we were sharing initially just with infertile people, and now we're sharing with the public, and the public has opinions about that as well. And during COVID, we got messages during COVID because members of the general public would say,
we were insensitive bringing kids into this world.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't be accessing hospital treatment when you're... this is the thing. People these days are kind of unkind sometimes, especially behind a keyboard. So got to make sure that everybody's on board with it. And that was always really important for us. We would always check in with each other and say, you okay if this is out there, or would you rather keep this part private? And we just did what was right for us, right?
Well, we did the best we could. Yeah. We looked after ourselves if we can, and kept ourselves safe.
Yeah. The other thing that's really come through with this, because obviously, mostly we've received just incredible, beautiful messages, and it's like we feel so grateful to be
supported,
lucky to be pregnant. We never knew that this was going to work, and sure, I had to go through a lot of cycles because we had male factor infertility. That's the other thing that seems to have come up in this. It seems that even people in the fertility community don't really understand male factor infertility, and
well, I think it's a lesser degree.
Or they think it's easier. And I was sort of thinking about the fact that in this community, maybe 30-40% of people, like myself, I don't have any diagnosed fertility challenges.
You just didn't produce many eggs.
Yeah, I didn't produce many eggs, but once we had the sperm and we had embryos, there was sort of...
It
potentially could work, but we didn't know that the whole time. We did 15 cycles completely blind, not knowing if it was going to work. So that, for us, that was a leap of faith.
That was our challenge. That was our challenge.
Yeah, and other people have a challenge if they have multiple miscarriages or they have implantation failure or whatever their issue is. And for us, it was challenging to have to do so many cycles, put that money and emotion and physical energy into the cycles, never knowing if it was going to work. I actually would have loved to have done one cycle and then transferred and then had some feedback. Because then at least we would have some feedback. Yeah, so that was our challenge, and that was hard for us, but other people have other challenges, and that's hard for them. And I think it's important not to... I think sometimes we don't really give male factor infertility the kindness that it deserves in this community. Like, it's so many women, and when we got these messages, we were like, they really don't understand male factor infertility. The reason why I had to produce that many eggs was so Jon could have children, and his fertility matters as well as mine. Sure, I could have gotten pregnant on the first cycle with donor sperm. I could have gotten pregnant by going down to the pub and picking up a random.
I'm very glad she didn't.
But I could have. So it's sort of people were saying to us, you didn't need to do all those cycles. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I wanted to have the chance to have John's kids, if that was possible.
I feel very grateful indeed.
Oh, that's nice. But that, I mean, it was never a question for me that your fertility is as important as mine, and we decided we wanted to give your sperm the best shot. So it's our right to do that. We shouldn't have been getting...
And basically for us, that meant we've left everything out on the field.
Yeah.
We've tried everything for me to have my own. So
and if
I guess then we had to wrangle with the idea that, okay, maybe that if that step didn't work, then we were able to even start to process the idea that we might need to look at our next option.
Because we were not against using donor sperm at all, and we think people who do that are amazing, or donor embryos, whatever it would have taken. But we had to see this part of our story through first, which was seeing if you could have biological children. And aren't we lucky that that worked out for us? But if it hadn't worked out for us, we would have moved on.
We would have had to,
Yeah, and so I guess when you share, I think the two messages of this video are when and how you share your story.
It's entirely your decision.
Your decision, your baby making team's decision. It's not just your decision, it's your partnership or your threesome or whoever's making the baby. And then the other part is just stop comparing ourselves. Like, we were so nervous about coming forward to say we were pregnant because we didn't want anybody to hurt, because we know how that feels sometimes, when you're trying so hard.
How much it takes to prepare to go out to baby showers, to birthdays, to friends, congratulations. It's just... And
for us, we didn't want to announce a pregnancy before we had a fair bit of certainty that the pregnancy was going to work. So, people were like, how come you delayed telling people? And it's like, well, it's our story, and we felt for us, we didn't really want to announce a pregnancy and then have something really sad happen and have to announce that again. So we did it our way.
That just comes back to reliving that story over and over again. So we just wanted to,
Yeah, so I guess that's why it's been really interesting thinking about male factor infertility and how this community accepts males into the community. And it's been really interesting. I mean, you could probably speak more to this about the men's group that we have on Face Group. I mean, from what I understand, those guys are really looking for a place where they can speak freely.
Just a chat.
Yeah, with other men who, without the pressure of sort of the female.
And maybe it makes a bit of a difference that we actually don't know each other in that environment. So, it's nice. It's nice, and hopefully, well, I guess they're getting some value.
Yeah.
No one's left. We seem to be accumulating.
I think it's
more.
just like, why is it that men don't feel as comfortable? Why aren't there so many men talking about fertility? Because 50% of fertility issues are male factor. So what is it about this community, and particularly this online community, that makes men feel a bit shunned? And when I saw the messages that we received, I'm like, people don't really understand what it's like to be male going through this, and why would a female do what we did in order for you to have your own, because this idea that only women's fertility matters. That's what I'm reading through the messages, that a lot of women who have female factor don't understand what it's like to be a man who's infertile. And so that's part of why we had the group. And when you sort of mention about the guys sharing in the group, I'm like, they need somewhere to talk to, and how they share is important as well. And it's so important for us as women to be respectful of that, right? Yeah. So we were really nervous about announcing the pregnancy.
We were excited, but we were equally even more nervous.
Yeah, and we really wanted to tell friends and family, because it's been so special telling people one-on-one, and so we wanted to take our time to do that, and I'm so glad we did. But I guess it's just explaining online why we delayed. I mean, I'm quite pregnant now, and but we wanted to feel safe in the pregnancy, and we wanted to, I guess the last message is just be kind. If you're announcing a pregnancy, then put up a trigger warning. Be kind about how you share it with people. I was going to say as well, how we had our baby shower, which we will share with you in the next video, but we said in our invitations, if it's too challenging for you to come to this,
drop us a message,
send us a message, and we'll have a coffee with you one-on-one.
We'll have a coffee, we'll go and have dinner.
Three different couples, groups of people said, this is too hard for me to come to this. And we were like, yes, like that is awesome. Thank you for being honest.
Look after yourselves,
And we met with them all for dinner and coffee and stuff. And it's been I just think it would
That
be...
was pretty cool.
It was really cool. And we were like, I'm so glad when people are taking care of themselves. And same way when we share, we're always aware of who we're sharing with and how it feels for them. So I think it comes down to kindness. Be kind to yourself. Stop comparing your fertility issues with other people's. Be kind to others. Be kind in how you announce
There's another
things.
thing too. While you're focusing on everyone else's fertility issues, you're sort of not able to look after your own, and your partners, and your family, and your things. So, look,
I think that's what we've gotten out of this whole experience of announcing, of being in the media, of having people send us nasty messages, of having thousands of people, strangers and people we know and love, sending us beautiful messages.
People saying, "I don't even know you guys, but congratulations." And it's all a bit much.
Yeah, even walking down the street, people are like, "I watch your videos." Like, I mean, the more we can share these stories to make it less taboo, to get people more support. But in the end, you have to do what's right for you, your baby making team, and your audience, whoever that is. So we just wanted to make this video just to kind of acknowledge how incredible this community is, and
send all our love to you guys.
Yeah, and anyone who is hurting, anyone who's hurting enough to send a nasty message, we just wish you all the best and just hope that you're okay. So you're crying again.
No,
you are.
loads of love. Loads of love.
Yeah, lots of love, and we'll be sharing some exciting things soon. So, see you,
See you guys.